What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button because today we are diving into something legendary, something that carries the kind of weight that only a true American muscle car can. This isn't just a car, it's a pure icon. It's raw history on four wheels, and it's one of the most collectible and sought-after muscle machines ever built. We are talking about the 1971 Plymouth Cuda, a car that didn't just show up in the muscle car era, but one that took it head on and to this day still leaves collectors, enthusiasts, and dreamers in awe. When you think about muscle cars, you think about raw power, aggressive design, and that unfiltered driving experience. The Plymouth Cuda of 1971 takes all of those things and then turns the dial past 10. It was a car that screamed attitude, not just in the way it looked, but in the way it performed. Back in 1971, Plymouth was riding high on the muscle car wave, competing against the likes of Dodge, Chevrolet, Pontiac, and Ford. But what made the 71 Cuda so special was the way it perfectly captured the heart of what muscle cars were all about: style, performance, and exclusivity. This car was built on Chrysler's E-body platform, the same that underpinned the Dodge Challenger, but the Cuda had its own unique flavor. It was shorter, meaner, and had a stance that made it look ready to pounce at any moment. One of the first things people notice about the 1971 Cuda is that aggressive front fascia. With its quad headlamps, bold split grille, and those optional shaker hood scoops, it looked every bit as intimidating as the power it packed under the hood. The body lines were muscular, the proportions were perfect, and the optional billboard stripes along the sides made sure you knew exactly what engine was lurking inside. And speaking of engines, that's where the legend of the Cuda really grows. Plymouth gave buyers an insane range of powertrains, everything from small V8 SS to the monstrous big blocks. But the star of the show was, of course, the 426 HEMI. This engine was no joke, rated at 425 horsepower, but anyone who knows their classic muscle cars understands that those numbers were conservative. In reality, the HEMI put out closer to 470 or more, and with 490 pound-feet of torque, it could rip through the quarter mile in the low 13s, sometimes even faster with the right driver. Pair that power with the option of a 4-speed manual transmission and a pistol grip shifter, and you had yourself a car that was pure adrenaline. The 1971 Cuda wasn't just about the HEMI though. You could also order it with a 446 pack, which meant 3 2-barrel carburetors feeding that massive engine. It was a drag strip monster straight from the factory, and Plymouth wasn't shy about letting people know. The car was loud, it was aggressive, and it had no problem lining up next to anything on the street. In many ways, it was one of the last muscle cars before the golden era came to an end, because by 1972, emissions regulations, insurance premiums, and the oil crisis were all closing in. Now let's talk about why the 1971 Plymouth Cuda has become one of the most expensive and desirable muscle cars in history. For one, production numbers were relatively low, especially for the high-performance models. The HEMI Cuda, in particular, is so rare that today some examples have sold at auction for millions of dollars. We're talking about muscle cars that were once attainable by the everyday enthusiast, now commanding Ferrari and Lamborghini money because of their rarity, their design, and the legend that surrounds them. For collectors, the 71 HEMI Cuda is the holy grail. Step inside the 1971 Cuda and you'll find a cabin that was designed for the driver. Bucket seats, a center console, and the pistol grip shifter gave it that performance feel, while options like the rally gauge cluster and wood grain trim added a bit of sophistication. It wasn't a luxury car by any means, but that wasn't the point. It was built to make you feel like you were in command of something powerful, something alive. And once you fired up that engine, you knew you were behind the wheel of more than just a car. You were piloting a piece of history. Driving a Cuda was an experience unlike anything else. The roar of the exhaust, the vibration of the engine, the way it threw you back into your seat when you stomped the gas, everything about it was visceral. There was no traction control, no electronic stability systems, no modern safety nets. It was you The car and the road. That raw connection is something modern cars just can't replicate, and it's a big part of why enthusiasts love classic muscle machines like this one so much. The 1971 Plymouth Cuda also became a cultural icon. It showed up in movies, in TV shows, and in the imaginations of anyone who dreamed of owning the ultimate American muscle car. Even today, if you mention the word Cuda to a car enthusiast, it sparks recognition. It's a name that carries weight, a name that represents one of the greatest eras of automotive performance. But what makes this car truly timeless is the fact that it's not just a relic of the past. Collectors still race them, restore them, and show them at events all around the world. The market for these cars is stronger than ever, and every year their value only seems to climb. It's not just nostalgia driving the prices, it's the fact that cars like the 1971 Cuda will never be built again. That combination of style, power, and character is something unique to the time. So when you see a 71 Plymouth Cuda today, whether it's sitting at a high-end auction, at a car show, or just out on the road, know that you're looking at something truly special. You're looking at a car that defined an era, that left its mark on automotive history, and that continues to inspire passion decades after it first rolled off the production line. That's going to wrap up today's video, but if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most iconic muscle cars of all time, make sure you hit that like button, share this video with other car lovers, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming content. We've got plenty more Legends classics and dream machines to talk about, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep that passion for cars alive.